Okay, guys, welcome. Episode 22. Yeah, it's been a couple of days since I streamed again. Again, figuring out internet connection and stuff. And now I think that it had to do with my iPad. Streaming on Wi-Fi my flight to my computer and then streaming it to Twitch. So I'm now reverting back to using my browser again, SkyVector, just to see what happens. Anyway, today I'm going to do my short range cross-country night flight test. As part of my flight training, I'm really engaged in my flight training program, trying to become a virtual private pilot. And as part of that, in the first stage, where I just fly from one uncontrolled or untowered airport to the next, I would also like to demonstrate my flight skills in a nighttime setting. So today, hey Nietzsche, welcome aboard. So today, a short range flight by night. Next up is going to be the long haul flights, the long distance flights. And then we're also going to enjoy flight following and start chatting with ATC. And then in the next stage, very soon, I'm going to visit Delta airports for the first time. And that means really engaging, really learning how to communicate with ATC, which is going to be very fun. And I'm really looking forward to. But today, a short range flight, hoping that I can demonstrate to you that I am able to do my PilotEdge and radio navigation in a proper manner. Hope you enjoy.
I'm passing through 500, Shamrock 715. 715, 134, decimal 125.
Okay, hey Kimo, welcome, good morning. It's morning here in the Netherlands. It's going to be a flight test, so soon I'm going to disable my webcam as part of the flight test because I need to be focused on my flying rather than looking on chat. That's kind of like the standard procedure in terms of the flight test. So let me do that right now. So let me switch to my flight test overlay. So here we are. And let me hop over to my SkyVector. So here we are again using SkyVector, which isn't really that bad. I love SkyVector, but I know the whole idea of using ForeFlight is that you have some additional information that I really like. Also, you guys can see what I'm writing during ATC or ADIS information, that kind of stuff. So I still prefer ForeFlight, but I need to look for some driver or some software, some app that enables me to plug my... hey Daniel, welcome on board. To plug my iPad just through a wire to my PC rather than wirelessly, because I think that is somehow interrupting my internet connection. Well, we'll just see, hoping that my stream stays alive, and we'll just have a fun time flying today. Okay, so this is going to be the flight that I plan to do. So as you can see, we're currently at French Valley. Foxtrot 70, that beautiful area here, uncontrolled airport by night, and I would like to go to Thermal, or Cochrane as it is called officially. I know that the locals refer to it as Thermal Airport. Well, it doesn't really matter. Again, underlying the Palm Springs area. So I thought, well, rather than just going through the southbound again through Julian and then up north again, let's go through this route, Benning, all the way around, flying over Palm Springs up to Thermal or Cochrane, which to me seems like a nice flight. So we're gonna head to a eastbound direction, so that means that we need to fly on a odd numbered altitude, so I guess 7,500 would be good, or 5,500, it depends on the terrain. So let me have a look already. So here in the first stage, first leg of our departure, you can see terrain is not really an issue. Also in terms of airspaces, well, there's a Charlie airspace here north of us, but we're going to cross that with no problem at all. A lake here, visual reference, although by night it might be hard to spot that lake. It's more practical to look at highways. Well, you can see we cross one, so that might be a good visual reference, and obviously also the city lights of Hamid or Hamid, Saint Jacinto that we're going to cross all the way to Benning, and there you can see yet another highway that just goes all the way to Palm Springs. Even more so, it goes past Palm Springs alongside Bermuda all the way down, kind of all the way down to Thermal. So that highway would be a perfect PilotEdge visual reference for us to use even by night, because chances are it is illuminated, it is lighted. So that's kind of like the idea, but again, that Charlie airspace isn't a concern to us. We can just easily fly towards this direction. Something that we need to take into consideration is the fact that there are several airways here coming from west to east. So that means that perhaps in terms of PilotEdge, it might be congested with drone traffic. I know that Benning is one of the most congested, uncontrolled airports in terms of PilotEdge drone activity. So we need to be very careful here and get to a high altitude to make sure that we are clear of traffic. Still, not really anything that we need to be concerned of. We can just catch that highway here and go all the way to the east. Then obviously we get this TRSA, as I already mentioned in previous episodes, not a big issue to us. It's just a semi-Charlie airspace in terms of we're not obliged to contact ATC if we would like to bus this this TRSA airspace, so we can just ignore it. So this 3,500 up to 10,000, we can just ignore it as part of that black grayish airspace here, and there are several sections. The most important part, or the most significant practical airspace, is the Delta airspace here surrounding Palm Springs International Airport, which goes from service up to 3,000. We can easily overfly it or just fly avoid it by going a little bit more northbound here. Anyway, I picked the VOR here so we can catch that one along with following that highway. So I guess we just overfly it and have a look at peek down at Palm Springs International Airport, which might be fun too. Then once we hit Palm Springs, then we go down south. We will hopefully catch Bermuda Airport and overfly it until we eventually reach Cochrane and land there. Let's have a look at Cochrane, or Jacqueline Cochrane. I don't know what people call it on PilotEdge on the radio, but well, we'll just use Cochrane. Let me see, Jacqueline. So we've got runway 17 and 35. That's the longest runway, so that's the one that I guess we're going to use. Makes the most sense. Also a very, how do you say that in English? The width of the runway is pretty extensive, 150. So great runway to practice for crosswind landings. But anyway, and here is the ramp. So landing on 35 or 17, or in our case 17, because we're coming from the north and flying to the south might make the most sense. Any stuff that we need to be concerned with here? Not really. So pretty basic, I guess. In terms of other stuff that we need here, what's the traffic pattern altitude? It's at 1000 AGL as usual. The airport elevation is minus 100 feet. So I guess 900 feet MSL would be the correct traffic pattern altitude this time. Anything else? Well, we'll just catch those frequencies while we are flying. Doesn't really matter. In terms of flight sim, a SOS we can pick up. It is implemented in Flight Simulator, but a WAS isn't, I think. So we can also pick up ADIS here during our flight. And that's about it. Do we have some military airways that we need to be concerned of? There are a couple here north of Palm Springs. Do we cross any here? No. So it's a pretty basic short range flight. So that's really cool, I think. From French Valley up to Cochrane. That's what we're going to do today. Okay, so we looked at runway lengths, we looked at airspaces. In terms of diversions, let me take a sip of water here. In terms of diversions, if we've got an engine problem or anything else, well, in the first leg we have Hammett Ryan here, which we could divert to. Also Benning. We've got Palm Springs, we've got Bermuda, so we are in good shape if there's any trouble. Also, if we fly high up enough, let's say a cruising altitude of 7,500, which makes sense. Well, we didn't really determine a cruising altitude yet, just based on terrain. So let me see here. Benning is at 2200, and this is again at sea level, I believe. Looking at the greenish area here, so 400. Yeah. So we're just gonna avoid all this high terrain. So I guess we can just fly at 5500, an odd numbered cruising altitude to the east. So that makes sense. So 5,500. So at 5,500 feet, we have enough glide space, glide room for us to glide back to an airport here in case we have an emergency. So that's good too. Now, next up is weather, because weather might interrupt our plans. Perhaps there are some weather cells around here, or some ceilings, or bad visibility, and we can't even fly in the first place. Well, again, if you have a general look, like we did with the ForeFlight, you can see the flight category depictions here in the green. So there's currently IMC here in the Los Angeles area, but here in our area, it's good weather. So we've got VFR here, we've got no readings there. Palm Springs is reading VMC, and also Cochrane, our destination airport, also is showing VMC. So 10 statute miles clear, winds calm. Again, winds calm, 10 statute miles clear. It's perfect flying weather. And French Valley is showing 10 and also clear. So this is perfect flying weather here by night. But let's have a closer look at the forecast. So again, moving up to the general overlay here, again you can see a high pressure area here on the ocean, which usually indicates not that it's on the ocean, but if there's a nearby high pressure area and no low pressure areas here in the southern in the California area, that's generally a good indication that we've got VMC. So yeah, confirms our METARs there. Precipitation forecast none, which is good. We're currently at 11 Zulu. This is 06 Zulu today, so you can see marginal VFR on the ocean. And it is forecasted at around 18 Zulu. That marginal VFR is actually still there, still around the ocean. So not a concern to us. Moving on. Graphical airmets, again, aviation weather experts that just determine or depict certain weather conditions in terms of, well, terms that make sense to pilots. So in this case, there is IFR weather there. That might be that marginal VFR that we just looked at. So that's on the ocean side. I guess, just a bit west of French Valley. French Valley is over here, I guess. This is the Lake of Palm Springs, I believe. I don't know for sure. So yeah, we don't need to fly. We shouldn't fly to the west because probably we will fly into that marginal VFR and that IFR, which isn't a good thing. Yeah, and this is valid. What kind of? This is a valid until 09 Zulu. Can we also have a closer look at a 3 hour, because that makes more sense. So you can see here turbulence up the north. You can see IFR is still there on the ocean, which confirms our earlier charts. So yeah, this is all good stuff. That turbulence, low turbulence, is still a little bit north of Palm Springs, so not a concern to us. Convective SIGMET, so no thunderstorms, no stuff there, which is good. This is the ceiling, cloud ceiling. Well, need to be very close. Look, here's a small chart. But again, you can see that ceiling is mostly a concern, which correlates to marginal VFR and IMC conditions on the ocean, not on land. So good. That also explains that we have clear sky looking at the METARs. Then we have this QPL plot. I still haven't got the time yet to study what it's actually about, but it's a very good web page that I was referred to by Keith Smith by PilotEdge, which you can use to determine not only the cloud base, because if you look at this chart, it only tells you the cloud base, which is cool. But imagine if you would like to overfly that cloud space, you need to know what the tops are. Right, because you should also remain clear of clouds in vertical terms, not only below but also above. So it makes sense, especially as a VFR pilot, to also have an idea what the cloud tops are. Well, and this tool here is really great in showing you. I'm not going to use that because there's no sense, no practical use of it, because we have clear skies. So, but in future episodes I will, and just have a closer look at what these options mean. But in the previous episode I already showed you something about that. turbulence, not really a concern to us, much more to the east. Let me see, this is a, let me see, pick 3000 here. So again, you can see that the terrain is already at that altitude. We don't see any turbulence there, which is good. Visibility confirms the cloud ceiling stuff. Again, you can see it's mostly on the ocean, which is good too. Then a looped satellite picture. Again, you can see that stuff coming from the ocean, coming in. Not really reached our location yet. This is an infrared one, so you can see where the thickness of the clouds are. So that's a good, good comparison. Thank you for following Abstracts by Brian. Thank you. Welcome on board, man. And lastly, almost lastly, freezing levels. Again, we're not going to fly that much high up, but it's good to have an idea. So this is a 9 Zulu, so let's get to 12 Zulu forecast. We're in the orange, the more darker orange area, which corresponds to 13,000 feet. So around 13,000 feet, we might expect freezing. And if we've got clouds, then we've got our, we need to turn on our pitot tube heat. That's the whole idea of looking at this chart, whether we should use pitot heat. And obviously you should use this chart in comparison or in conjunction with humidity, right? Cloud formation, because just freezing levels isn't a concern. It's mostly when there's a lot of humidity, moist in the area, in the air, because that combination results in icing. Lastly, well, you can see radar, not really practical because we know we don't have any clouds in our neighborhood. So this is all cool stuff. NOTAMs, well, let's do those again. I forgot about including those in the previous flights. I guess I can I use just a comma and just use multiple? So Kilo Tango Romeo Mike, that's thermal. Let's have a look. View NOTAMs. Location must be in alpha, okay. Something like this, perhaps? Yeah, so French Valley, no NOTAMs for this location. And Jacqueline, Cochrane, obstacle tower lights. Well, these are just bogus stuff. This doesn't really concern us. So no NOTAMs that are really that important. I guess you should also incorporate NOTAMs of all your airports along the way, so you know that perhaps you picked a particular airport as a diversion, as an alternate, but if there are some NOTAMs active there, it might not be the best choice. So, but I'm not going to in this flight. Let me see. So flight plan. So VFR, again, PilotEdge isn't really active. The servers are always on, but the air traffic controllers are asleep right now, I guess. But we are going to file a flight plan because we're cool. So Papa Hotel Tango India Mike, aircraft, we're a Cessna 182, the lovely A2A Simulations Cessna 182. I'm going to go to equipment Alpha because we don't have a GPS. True airspeed, well, let's say just 120, doesn't really matter. We're going to depart from French Valley. Arriving airport is going to be thermal. And our cruising altitude is going to be 5,500. And all alternatives is going to be Benning. I don't know, just pick one. That's KBNG, I think. Benning, BNG, Bravo November Golf. Okay, no, not the NOTAMs, but the flight plan. Yeah, and route of flight, no, and remarks. I don't need any file flight plan. Go. Successfully uploaded. So our flight plan is now filed. So that means that we can start our flight, which I'm really looking forward to. So in terms of our departure, what are the runways here at French Valley? I can see here right planner 36. So I imagine 36 and 18. So it makes sense to depart from 36. There are no winds here. Winds are calm, so we're clear to go. And let me see, then we just depart and we're going to fly over to Benning. Well, we can only use just a heading, but I don't really like just using a heading and just only be reliant on visual reference points. So what we could do perhaps to make it more creative, there's a VOR here to the south of us. It's oceanside. So couldn't we just use a outbound radial that we just imagine ourselves, like from here all the way up? that kind of leads us towards the direction of the bending. So we can catch that radial so we know for sure that we're heading the right direction, right? So this is going to be 0 to 1 heading, as you can see here. So what would happen if we would take the 0 to 1 radial outbound from Oceanside? I guess that would work until we fly over Benning and then we make a right to Palm Springs. We could also catch that radial, right? Which makes sense. So 0 to 1, I guess that's a nice backup procedure, just to use radio navigation, just to make sure that we're doing right. Okay, that's a short briefing. So let's hop back to the cockpit where it's completely dark, as you can see, guys. Let me turn on TrackIR here. Yeah, nice city lights, French Valley. You can see the runway here to the left. Have no idea what direction my airplane is pointing at, but just I'm gonna have a look. The ERA helicopter here next to us. So cool. Also have to have a close look at what our fuel is currently, because I also have no idea of what how much gallons we have. But first off, let's do a basic check here. So what I'm going to do is turn on the batteries, bloop, but also the panel lights. Where's my button here on my Saitek panel? Boom, there we are. So you can faintly see it. I will increase the illumination in just a bit. But we're just going to do a cold and dark check. So control wheel lock removed, park and brakes. I can't see them, but I see that my mouse cursor indicates that it's on. It is set. Live vest we don't need. Fire extinguisher is good. Window is good. We can see tie downs there. That's okay. ELT is set to auto. Flaps are up. Levers are set. Cabin air is open. Trim is set. Well, trim is set a little bit nose down, so I'm going to set that to neutral. Cowl flaps are closed. We can open them, and fuel tanks can remain set to the left. Then just peek behind the yoke here. Avionics are off, except for the beacon is on, and batteries are obviously on. Yeah, so this is all set. And how much gallons do we have? 10 gallons in each tank. That's too low. So we're going to need to refuel. So I'm going to turn off the batteries here. And let's... No, not that one. That one I need. So, fuel. Let's refuel. How easy it is here in Flight Sim just to do it like this. Refueled, and oil and everything seems just fine. Okay, so we've got our cold and dark check completed, so that means we can start with our interior pre-flight inspection to see whether the systems are actually working. So again, batteries are on. Now we're going to turn on the avionics. You can hear a beep, which is good. What we can do, I'm going to adjust my lights in just a sec. 1200 is all set. Let's check whether the annunciator messages are actually working. They are. I would like to see my flaps down to see if they go down in sync. Let alone if they go down in the first place. Seems like they are going down. Which is good. And this is all set, and now we can see the fuel reading is good. Yeah, that completes it. So I'm going to turn off the avionics and going to turn off the batteries again. And now we're going to go... Oh, no, I'm not going to. I'm just going to test the pitot tube and the lights. So what I'm going to do first is remove the pitot tube cover. Let me see how I do that. Pitot cover remove. Let's also remove the tie downs and wheel chocks. And let's go out. No, not outside. Let's turn on the landing lights, taxi lights, strobe lights, nav lights, and the pitot heat. And now let's go outside to see whether those are actually working. Well, we already see that the lights are on, so that's helpful by night. Taxi lights are on, landing lights are on, strobe lights, position lights also on the other side, they work. Beacon light is working, position light on the tail, it is on. Stall warning, and the pitot tube heats. Yeah, it works. Cool. So we know that that is working. Very important in a nighttime flight. So landing lights off, pitot heat off. We already checked the avionics, and yeah, we're already set. So now I turn off my batteries, and we can do our exterior pre-flight in the dark. Would be very helpful to have a flashlight here, because I cannot see a thing. Just listening to the sounds. Yeah, so my baggage door is closed, tie down is removed. You can see the bolts here, all connected, which is good. These are all in, connected, looks good. Wiggle of the trim tab, looks good. Flaps, I can see a wiggle, I can hear it too. Again, here the connecting rod, everything looks good. Ailerons, see if those are connected. Yep, seems good to me. Tie down is removed, fuel vent is clear. Chocks have been removed, good inflation, fuel drain, good color. I can see no contamination, which is good. Let's look into the fuel tanks. What we can see confirms our fuel gauge, enough gallons. Static air is clear. Fuel drain in the nose, good color, no contamination. Let's look at the propellers. There are no dents. Bits out of it, again, hard to see. But I don't see any weird stuff going on. Again, A2A simulates these dents, so that's so awesome. So we need to be very careful here looking. Intakes, they are clear. Fuel under the filter here seems good. Oil, a bit to the lower side, but still enough. Good color. So we need to, I guess, replenish our oils in our next flight. Other wing, enough gallons. A drain there, good color, no contamination. Chocks removed, good inflation, and fuel vent is here clear. Ailerons, connected, looks good. And finally the flaps that wiggle, I can hear. And are they connected? Well, they are. So we completed our exterior pre-flight, which means that we have no reason to visit the maintenance hangar. Okie doke, so we can start with our before engine start. So first a briefing. Again, it's good to do these briefings a couple of times during your flight just to memorize what you're going to do and rehearse what you're going to do, almost visualize it. So hopping back to Sky Vector. So again, guys, we're currently at French Valley. I'm going to take off runway 36. And I'm going to catch that radial 021 up to Benning. I'm going to tune in ocean side here, 115.3, and we're going to fly over, see if we can see that lake or some cities, that highway that we're going to cross, and then to Benning. 5500 is going to be our cruising altitude, right turn, going to catch this radial inbound to Palm Springs, going south, Bermuda, and Cochrane, and that's it. That's going to be our flight. In terms of taxiing, I don't have a clue what my heading is currently. Let's peek. Oh, sorry, I need to be in the cockpit. Yeah, our heading is south. Yeah, so there is our starting runway. So we need to taxi all the way down and then take off this direction up to the north. Okie doke. That's our briefing. I can see my yoke is not calibrated, which is very weird. It happens every now and then. I don't know why. I thought it was A2A. I thought it was A2A first, but it wasn't. Calibrate device. Left, right, push and pull. Save, okay. And now if I turn the yoke, it is centered again. Yeah, I don't know what is happening there, but apparently that is needed. Alrighty. Then what we're going to do is turn on our nav lights. That's important because we're going to fly by night. And I'm going to set my fuel tanks to both. Cowl flaps are open. Let's fasten my seat belts here and close the door. If I can find the there, I guess. Yeah. Door is closed. You can see the nav lights here burning, which is good. So we're going to taxi here, catch that main taxiway all the way down. Yeah. Altimeter setting, we're going to check that soon. Let's just first do a startup. So batteries are on, avionics are off, throttle 1/4 inch open. Let's prime the engine. 1, 2, 3, cut off, fuel pump off. Again, parking brakes are set. Let's have a look if there's no people flow by ORBX outside. I don't see anyone walking in our propeller area, so that's good. So clear prop. on, mixture full in, 1200. Let's see the oil pressure rising here. I'm going to turn on the instrument lights in just a sec, guys. Generator on, avionics on. I'm going to lean my mixture for ground operations, max RPM. There we are. Reset to 1000 and flaps up. Good. Now, let's increase those instrument lights for you guys to look with me. Something like that. Okie doke. So as you can see, engine is still cool. As you can see, we need to get into that green area there. So we'll just wait for a few minutes while we tune in our frequencies and just allow the engine to warm up. So first off would be a ADIS reading. So let's have a look if there's any ADIS, or is there AWAS? So AWAS we cannot pick up in Flight Sim. So ADIS from the airport March, 134.75. Let me see here, 134.75. Okie doke, switch that one in, so let's have a listen. We don't have a listen because we cannot pick it up, I guess, because we're in between the valley here. So we're going to pick that one up once we are airborne. Okay, next up is the frequency of French Valley. I guess it's already set, but just have a look. CTAV 1 to 2.8. No, it isn't set. So 1 to 2.8, set to COM1. Active, yeah. What's next when we're going to take off? Well, we're going to take off using that radial, right, from ocean side, that outbound radial 021. So 115.3 in the nav 1, 115.3, double checked, 115.3, and we are gonna fly that outbound radial 021. So we're gonna set that already. Preparation is your biggest friend here. 021. Good. Let's double check whether our heading indicator is actually aligned with our compass. Yeah, so we've got a good reading here. Always very important. There's no reading yet, so we don't pick that radial or that ocean side VOR up yet. But I guess when we are airborne, we do. Otherwise, we just fly using that 021 radial. Then next up, well, because we're high up, where are we? French Valley. There's no need for us to tune into Benning here because we're just going to overfly it. I guess it makes sense to have a listen to Palm Springs. But again, PilotEdge, the air traffic controllers are offline right now, although the servers are online. PilotEdge air traffic controllers are asleep, so chances are we don't hear anyone chat on the tower frequency here, so no sense there to tune in. I guess it would be the ATIS of Palm Springs, 118.25. So now come to 118.25. It's already set. Awesome. So then we can pick up weather here, and then we move on to Cochrane, which is at 123.0. So I'm going to set that on my COM1 standby. 123.0 I said, yeah, 123.0. Okie doke, so we've got our frequencies checked. Oh no, I forgot to tune in Palm Springs, obviously, because that's our second leg, right? It's going to be the leg from Benning to Palm Springs. So 115.5. Come to 115.5. 115.5. Is it tuned in? Did I just tune it in? Yeah, I just tuned it in on nav 1. Let me see again. Yeah, ocean side is at 115.3. That's now tuned. And then nav, I can do it in the standby mode of nav 1, obviously. So then it is 115.5. Yeah. But perhaps it's better just to set it at nav 2, because then I don't need to change the OBS. Yeah, so I'm going to transfer this one to there. So nav 2. Nav 2? Yeah. 115.5. There it is. So now it's over here. And what is the heading that we're going to expect from Benning to Palm Springs? Well, 084. 084. So the outbound 084. . 084. Okay, cool. So then we can just easily move on to flying that radial. Okido. Let's keep in the cockpit. Let's tune on our transponder set to on. I'd like to enable my TrackIR here. As you can see, the engine is already warming up. It's already in the green, which is good. This is all on. We are leaned, cowl flaps are open, trim is set. We are ready to go. Altimeter setting, we can just infer the altimeter setting by setting our altimeter to the airport elevation, which makes sense. So just have a quick peek here on sky vector 1350. 1350. So I guess something like this. 1350. So current altimeter setting is 3020 approximately. Okay, so that's set. So we're ready to go. CDEF is in. This is an uncontrolled airport, so we don't need any permissions. So let's go. Parking brakes released. There we go. Brake test. It's working. Let me tune on my taxi lights because it is very dark. See my slip indicator, turn indicator, so that's working too. Again, slow taxi, no need to hurry things up. Here at French Valley, some airplanes there. FBO. Awesome. So happy to get into the air again. So right turn. A little bit more power because we're getting slowed down by this turn. And there we are on the center line. Cool. Well, we can set the heading back to our departure runway. Not really that important. It's mostly practical if you're going to fly traffic patterns or something like that. But still. Fuel tank over there. So far, so good. Very good flying weather. See some puffs of clouds there. Just few. Again, I don't know by heart what the how do you call that? The cloud separation rules are in nighttime conditions in echo airspace. But anyway, just in practical terms, it makes sense just to remain clear of clouds in the same kind of manner like you do by day. So remain at least 500 feet below clouds, 2,000 feet laterally, 1,000 feet above. Let me see here. These are the PAPI lights. We can just continue. I can see some run-up area here. And in nighttime, when you're going to fly and do these short range flights, it really becomes very close or very similar to instrument flying, even though you've got some references outside. Yeah, it's good practice, even though we're still in the first stage of training, in the uncontrolled airspaces stage. Is that a? No, it isn't a run-up area. Okay, so we're just going to park here at the threshold, I guess. Runway 36 confirmed. So let's do a differential braking steep turn here. Winds are calm, so we don't need to point into any direction to increase our cooling the engine. Parking brakes set. Reset to 1000 RPM. We turn off our taxi lights because it might blind others from flying here. We don't need them right now while we're standing still. And now the first checkup is our engine warm enough to do our power check? Well, cylinder head temperature in the green, which is good, and the oiler temperature too. So okay, let's full mixture, full prop, fuel tank set to both, elevator trim is set, parking brakes are set, so let's do our power check. 1800 RPM. Sounds good, very smooth, no annunciator messages. Oil pressure still stable, everything looks perfectly stable, which is good. So, left mag, small drop, perfect, both. Right mag, small drop, looks good, both. Then I'm going to turn on the landing lights to see if the generator is actually working. Bloop, yeah, you can see a dip there, which is good. Prop check, so RPM manifold, can see the manifold is rising, which is a good sign that the governor is working. And then the oil pressure, see if that is dipping and resetting itself. And we've already heard the RPM changing, so that's good. So no messages here. Then finally the throttle stop, full idle. You can hear an airplane. Oh great, drone traffic. PilotEdge is departing from the other runway. Okay, need to be very careful there. Still oil pressure in the green, no enunciated messages, so our engine is in good shape, which is good. Finally, flight control test. So to the right you can see the aileron go down there. There it goes down. Elevators up and down, and rudder perfect. Ready to go. Well, we're ready to go, guys. We're going to catch that. So in terms of briefing, going to take off here. 5500 is going to be our cruising altitude. We're going to pick up that 021 radio outbound from Oceanside. Let's check this frequency. 115.3 is now set. I've made that mistake before, that I didn't tune in the right VOR. 115.3 checked. Outbound until we see banning. That's the first part of our flight. So transponder set to altitude, landing lights on, strobe lights on. We don't need any flaps. Trim is set. We are ready to go. Yeah, that wiggle or that weird sound is because I'm very slowly using braking while I'm giving throttle, so that's why. French Valley traffic, Skyline Papa Hotel Tango and Mike is departing runway 36 for a straight out departure to 5500 French Valley. There we go, lining up with the center line. Look at that scenery, lovely. I don't see any other aircraft here. Good. So slowly advancing the throttle, a little bit of right rudder. Engine looks in the green, good. Airspeed's alive, wonderful. Need some left rudder, so we've got winds coming from the right, I guess. 60 rotate, and slowly nose up. Whoa. Crabbing to the other direction. Allowing my airspeed to increase, get to 80. And there we go. Leaving French Valley. Just a ramp, some jets. I need to be very careful now not to fly into any other traffic. I already see that we've picked up the VOR of Oceanside. Can you see, guys? Very close to that 021 radial. Still keeping up that climb, and then we make our right turn. A little bit of nose down. We're going too slow. Cool. French Valley traffic, Skyline Papa Hotel Tango, India Mike is at 2200. We're going to leave the traffic pattern area up to the north, French Valley. Slight turn to the right, and let's pick up that radial and keep our climb going. Turn off my landing lights. We'll keep the cowl flaps open because our engine is in a high performance setting, so it needs additional cooling, I presume. Now let's stick a heading of, well, 040, something like that, to catch that radial. Well, we keep that climb going, at least in the first stage of our training, or of our flight, sorry. Because I would like to return to a more comfortable climb setting, just to prevent any damaging going on in the engine. Well, something like this. So we are high enough, I believe, to get to a cruise setting. So let's set the manifold to the green. You can see the left corner there. Ooh, down 23 inches, which is good. Make sure that I pitch down while I did that, because otherwise I might get into a stall. So allow the airspeed to increase first. I'm going to lean a bit so we can get that EGT nicely high up. And now I'm going to reset the prop, so the RPM to, let's say, 2200. Sounds much more relaxed and healthy. And now I'm going to trim, because I don't need to climb that much, guys. Just 500 feet per minute is just fine. So I'm using the yoke here. And now I need to push down, so nose down trim. Radial is coming in. And now I'm going to close the cowl flaps, because now there's enough wind flow coming into the intakes. Engine intake. A little bit of nose down. Radial, we're centered, so I'm gonna make that left turn a bit to catch that radial a little bit more. I think you guys cannot see, but here's the lake just to the left of us, so confirming by visual reference that we're doing fine. Keeping that left turn there. EGT is nicely high up, cylinder head temperature is nicely high up. Perfect, still a great climb, perfectly trimmed. You can close the window. We should have, as part of the takeoff checks. Oh, that's too much of a updraft there. Using some yoke correction here. Well, as you can see, guys, this is pretty much instrument-based flying. I very, very faintly see the scenery here. So I'm primarily focused on the primary instruments here. Whoa, again, a lot of an updraft. Need to look closely at my airspeed. 1,000 feet to go. Well, there's some terrain issues here in French Valley, I guess, that is generating that updraft or unstable. EGT is dropping, so again a little bit more leaning. We don't need to climb with 1,000 feet per minute. Nose down a bit, trim. We're nicely on that radial. And again, guys, if you spot any mistakes that I'm making during my flight test, please put it on chat, because once I shut down at Cochrane, I'm going to review your suggestions and ask you whether you think that I passed for this particular flight test. And then in the next episode, finally we can start with doing our long distance cross-country flights, and then I'm going to practice flight following, which I'm very, very excited to do. Getting to that 5,500 cruising altitude. Nicely on track, good EGT. No messages, weird messages there. We can pick up our 8 as of March. Here to the left of us.
Mark, airport information, Bravo, 1142 Zulu, wind 031 at 6.
Cool, wind's calm.
Greater than 20 miles.
Cool.
Sky condition, clear.
Cool.
Temperature 2, dew point -5, altimeter 3021, ILS,
Oh, perfect.
runway 32.
Perfect. We are current. Yeah, Tim, should you level off? So here we are, we're leveling off. Set our manifold to 19 or something like that, just in the lower corner there. And allow the airspeed to increase first. So I'm not trimming right now, just using the yoke. Just to get into a stable airspeed. And only then it makes sense to trim, because otherwise you keep trimming like a madman, which doesn't make sense at all. So just allow the airplane to get into a stable configuration, and then it makes sense to trim. No traffic yet. You can see some terrain, see some cities here. You can see a airport there, that's Hamid Ryan, I believe. So now we get to a stable airspeed, kind of. So I'm already using a lot of nose down yoke. So let's trim down, trim down, trim down. Awesome. No hands. A little bit to the right. Yeah, so there's an airport here. Let's double check what that one is. Just gonna disable TrackIR now. Whoop. French Valley, yeah. Hamid Ryan. So again, a great visual reference confirming that we are on the right track. We're still descending a bit, so a little bit nose up. in the front of us, I can see terrain there. So I guess that I based my cruising altitude just on the airport elevation of Benning, which isn't really a reliable way, because obviously terrain in between airports can be much higher or different than just the airport elevation. So perhaps this terrain that we see in front of us is much higher than at Benning, and that explains while here in Flight Sim, if we look outside, you can see some terrain in front of us. Some traffic also on the right. So what I'm going to do is we're going to climb further. Let's go to 7,500. That's the next stage of next level increase of VFR altitude to the east. So a little bit more of manifold pressure there. Let me turn TrackIR on. So 20 inches. And let's trim up a little bit. There we go. Traffic to the right. Again, I already expected more traffic to see around Benning because of all those airways that intersect there. HT, let's see if we can even raise it a bit higher. Well, that terrain hasn't become an issue. I can just see it disappear beneath me, so we're just fine. And again, remember those VFR altitudes only apply if you fly above 3,000 feet AGL. So as this terrain is coming up now, we're not flying 3,000 AGL anymore. So we can just stick to this altitude if we like to, this weird altitude, 5,700 or whatever, because we're below that 3,000 feet AGL stuff. So again, traffic there to the right. Make sure that we don't fly into it. A little bit left of the radial, so let's keep it nicely tight. So a little bit more to the right. HT has been a little bit more higher, so that's good. Let's see if we can even get it more high. No, I can hear the RPM already getting a lower tune. So we're already at max RPM. So it's so cool that A2A also simulates the sounds of the engine in that way. So you can, like in the real world, you can just listen to your engine to see what you're doing. Again, traffic here. So far, so good, I think. Good engine management, everything in the green. Picked up our ADAS, which is good. And the practical thing is, because we've set our next leg. I mean, let me pause TrackIR here. So we're now flying, I guess, around here, and then we're going to hit Benning. But how do we know when we reach Benning? Especially when we don't have a visual reference of Benning on 7,500 feet or 5,500. Well, because we set that nav2 to Palm Springs. So if that nav2 is centered on this radial 084, then we know that we are exactly on top of it or nearby it, and then we need to make our right turn. Whoa, aircraft traffic here is increasing. I told you guys. 1, 2, 3, 4. So what we need to do is just stick to this radial. So let's just do that. And once the nav2 needle gets centered, then we need to make that turn to 084, heading to Palm Springs. Traffic, traffic, traffic. Let's level here. I don't want to be that much high up. Again, guys, this is why flight following or requesting flight following is that useful, because then ATC also looks with you, follows you along, and gives you traffic advisory saying, hey Tim, nice job there, but make sure there's some traffic in front of you. Do you have them in sight? I don't know if flight following also includes weather information. Like they can say, well, there's a thunderstorm ahead, please divert, or consider diverting. I mean, they don't really give you instructions of what to do, but they can advise you. Because I think that is Flight Watch, and that isn't simulated or implemented in PilotEdge. So you can tune into Flight Watch and say, hey, what's the weather like? And you get a very detailed briefing. Again, the needle is coming in, guys. Can you see? I have two. So that means that Benning should be already here. Yeah! There's Benning. Very nice airport. The only thing that I'm frustrated by, but it's just in general terms, is that all the drone traffic by PilotEdge has been recorded on X-Plane. I already mentioned that in the previous episodes. And while I'm flying and prepared, somehow prepared and FSX and X-Plane don't have corresponding terrain elevations and also positions of runways. So when I visit Benning, I can see drone traffic just departing outside of the airport. They're also parked a few hundred feet or a few dozen feet above the airport elevation, which is not that nice. You can see a big mountain here to the right of me. So if I now would make a full turn to 084, I would fly into that mountain. Again, I wonder whether in the real world you would actually able to see that terrain, because I think I didn't plan for that potential danger. If we look at the sky vector, you can see that it's this terrain. So I should have incorporated perhaps that traffic to the right of us. I can see. Anyway, I should have known that that would be a potential problem. Or I should be aware of avoiding that terrain. Just as an additional note. So very slowly now turning to the right to that 084. So I guess I'm going to lose that needle. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to descend back to 5500. Again, traffic to the left of us. I mean, that's an advantage of night flying, I think, is you can spot other airplanes much more quicker and easy. A little bit nose down there. So terrain clear, I can see. So let's catch that radial. And we're not obliged to really fly that airway. It's just an indication or a help. It's more like an aid. So we can easily just go off course. But in terms of this flight training context, I like to just practice catching those radials. Mountain to the right of us. So you can see that at nav 1 now. Giving a from direction. So now it's probably a good time to get the ADIS information of Palm Springs. We already set that in the standby of COM2. So let me switch my Saitek panel to COM2 and let's swap. And COM2.
Palm Springs Airport.
There you go.
Foxtrot 1153 Zulu. Wind 010 at 6.
Cool. Wind's calm.
Greater than 20 miles. 20 sky conditions 15,700.
Perfect.
Temperature 2.7. Altimeter 3029er.
29er.
Runway 31 left and visual. Runway 31 right and use.
29er. Okay. Well, and why is that important? This altimeter. Well, it's always good to set your current altimeter settings. Because air traffic controllers, if they assign you an altitude, they gonna assume that you've got the right altimeter setting, so all aircraft in that airspace is flying on the same altitude, right? That makes sense. Also, in our case, we've got that Palm Springs International Delta airspace here. Well, we're gonna easily overfly it, but if we would fly at 3500 or so, and you've got the wrong altimeter setting, you might bust that airspace while your altimeter setting is saying you're not. Well, actually you are, because you didn't set your altimeter setting right. So yeah, altimeter settings are very important. Talking about Palm Springs International Airport, I guess it's just behind this mountain range. It's very dark now. Again, some traffic here to the left. Let's see if we can spot it soon. Oh, I can see just around the corner. Yeah, and I know that in the first stage of my training, when I did my ground school, between quotes, I mean, I didn't really go to a real world flight school, but just as part of this uncertified pilot channel, I viewed all the PilotEdge workshops that are on YouTube, where Keith Smith is explaining all the airspaces and what you should do. That I find it very weird, although it is perfectly fine, but looking at this airspace, it seems like very daunting. Like, well, you shouldn't be in there if you really want to, because there are all kinds of airspaces there. But actually, it isn't. We can just easily overfly. We could just now fly to Palm Springs. Well, we can just do that and overfly it midfield and just do some circles there, just to have a glance at Palm Springs beneath us, because we're just clear of that shell, right? So we're perfectly legal doing that. Traffic, and there's Palm Springs International Airport. Again, need to keep on that altitude, so a little bit of nose up trim. Let's go to Palm Springs. In the real world, I don't know if Active Sky Next is that detailed, but these mountains here to the right of us, big mountains here that surround Palm Springs International Airport, are known for generating a lot of unpredictable extreme turbulence and updrafts and downdrafts. So what I'm doing now is not really that much of a safe decision, because now when we make our right turn and overfly Palm Springs International Airport, we might come closer to that turbulence. But anyway, gonna keep Palm Springs a little bit to the left, so again more to the right. You can see the terrain, so we're clear, and I would like to get to that 5500 altitude. Engine is still looking good, nicely high up EGT, good cylinder head temperature, oil pressure, oil temperature, it's perfect. Again, some nose up, come on. Ah, there's Palm Springs. Look at that. And again, I'm looking forward to the release of the compatible version 3 of the Palm Springs ORBX scenery, which I already have, but it isn't made compatible with version 3 of Prepared yet. And that scenery is so gorgeous, so I can't wait for it to be released. Palm Springs International Airport. And so you've got two runways, the bigger one looking from the outside in, this is 1-3 I guess, 1-3 left, 1-3 right, and the 1-3 left is the general aviation, general aviation runway is a little bit smaller, and there's a lovely ramp there, especially in that ORBX Palm Springs International Airport scenery package. A lot of people flow, lovely palms and stuff, palm trees. But now in this Southern California generic scenery by ORBX, it is nice, but it isn't that packed and cute as it can be. But it's a lovely airport to start, and also I have a warm feeling related to Palm Springs, because I did my first PilotEdge flight here on Palm Springs. So to me it feels like home almost in terms of virtual flight sim. Overfly the airport. Just take a little bit of a right turn here and then a left, so we can have a closer look at. In the meantime, I'm thinking that we need to catch that highway, right? Oh, there's the runway. You can see the 13 left is much smaller runway, thinner runway. And this is a huge runway, 13 left. Again, great for practicing crosswind landings. Now, let's see if we can see that highway. I can see it over here. It's not illuminated, strangely. Oh, it's here, I guess. No, that isn't the highway. Here. I think it's there. Well, in case it isn't illuminated, let's make sure again we make use of our radio navigation. So hop over to Sky Vector, Palm Springs. What's the outbound radial? Well, 120. So let's set nav2 to 120. And let's catch that one. We already passed it, I can see. Ah, this is the highway. It cannot be otherwise. Strange why it's not illuminated. All people in Palm Springs are asleep right now. No one is interested in visiting Palm Springs. Again, this is also the reason why it's good to have that Palm Springs scenery by ORBX, because then that is fixed. Waiting for that needle to move. And otherwise we're going to make our right turn. This is the highway. I don't know if you guys can see it, but freeway, I don't know what the difference is between a highway and a freeway. Let me know, guys, in the chat once I shut down. So we need to follow that highway, as we know. Already looked at the chart, so let's just make that turn to the right, because I know that for a fact that we need to do that. And also because we're now on that highway, we can consider already descending a bit, because Cochrane isn't that far away from us. So 120, it makes sense just to keep a little bit right of that highway so I can keep it in sight to the left of me. That relates to pretty much every visual reference point that you pick. Ah, there you can see. Here's the highway. So now I just pulled back a little bit on the throttle to increase our or to start our descent. Need to make sure though that we're not going to bust that airspace anyway, because it's still below us, the delta airspace, and you can still see that the runway is part, or the highway is part of it. So 3000 is our floor here. It's beneath us, but we're at 5500, so we're still much high up. So we can already start our descent. Where's that highway? Ah, there's Bermuda in front of us. So we're on the right direction. Why is that nav2 not showing up? Ah, thank you for following. Mike, welcome aboard, man. Thank you. Again, guys, for anyone who's watching, if you follow, you get an instant notification when I fly. You can jump on board. It's my trusty co-pilot, which is very fun. So what I'm going to do now is also turn on my landing lights, because we're going to cross over Bermuda, and we're close to Cochrane. Let's already tune that CTEF in. 123.0 is already in standby, so swap. Cochrane is now active. And what is our arrival going to be like? Well, overfly Bermuda, already in sight. That's that big runway that we'd like to fly over. What was that runway already? Just scroll down. 317. That's that big runway. 17. 17 it is. So let's Tune that one in. 17. Oh, is it 17? Yeah, it makes sense. It's 17. Yeah. Okay, never mind. Again, descending. I would like to have Bermuda Airport in sight. So again, the same trick. Staying a little bit to the right. What we can also do, obviously, I'm just flying the outbound of Palm Springs. But we also have got a obvious VOR just sitting on Cochrane, which is 116.2. Nav1. Nav1? 116.2. 116.2. There it is. Got a reading. I guess something like there. Something like that. We need to fly that direction. Oh. It's very sensitive. Now, as we're descending, you can see that the EGT is dropping. So it kind of like in a reflection would say I need to lean more, but that's not the case, right? We need to enrichen the mixture. You can see it's already going upwards because we are descending. Air gets more thick, so you need to do the reverse. Again, there's the highway. So far, so good. Can we see Cochrane already in the distance? What's the distance? 7.4 nautical miles. Once we get to Cochrane, 900 feet is the traffic pattern. Let's do an announcement. Northwest, yeah. Cochrane traffic, Skyline Papa Hotel Tango and Mike is at 2,800, about 7 miles northwest of the airport, inbound for a full stop landing runway 17 Cochrane. Okay. Still a little bit more mixture rich. A little bit to the left, the needle is creeping away. Where is Cochrane? 7 miles, 5 miles. It should be below here. Perhaps we're overflying it already. I should have been able to see it. I'm gonna stick on this altitude. Four nautical miles. Interesting. We are not really on the radial. Our radial is already creeping away. Yeah, so it is below us, I guess. We're overflying it already. That's weird. Why don't we have any runway lights? .7, 3.6. Yeah, we should already be nearby. I can't see it overhead. Let's make a turn here. 360 turn. 2,000, which is good. I can see stuff there to the left. Don't know what that is. I guess an airport. This is weird. I can see some stuff there, but no runways at all. So perhaps the Cochrane is to the right. Let's make that right turn. Yeah, that's it. Weird why that isn't that much illuminated. That's 17, I guess. 17, yeah, that makes sense. So what I'm going to do is, let me see, we're already here on a right base. We're much too high up. So I'm going to make a teardrop here to the left. Yeah. So kind of like a 270 turn and then land. Cochrane traffic, Skyline Papa Hotel Tango India Mike is 2 miles north of the airport. We're currently at 1,800. We're going to make a left teardrop turn to final runway 17 full stop Cochrane. Or something like that. So here we are. Mixture full rich, prop full. Throttle back. Keep that descent going. We need to have a lot more nose up trim here. Not need to go that much down. So I guess traffic pattern altitude is around 1,000, so that would be good. Flaps down. Keep that descent, that turn going. Just see where we're gonna end up. Oh, push down. There we go. I need to watch that speed. Continue. The second notch of flaps. There's an airport. Man, this is tough. I have no clue. I guess that's the beginning of the runway. Yeah, those are the VASI lights. Yeah, I already have in sight. So 1,000. Cochrane traffic, Skyline Papa Hotel Tango India Mike is on final runway 17 full stop Cochrane. Weird. So very bad visibility, I guess. I mean, clearly there are runway lights. Here on the Sky Vector I see a green flight category, so a VMC. So 17 confirms. We're a little bit too fast here. We've got enough of runway length. We can use some forward slipping just to allow our engine to, or allow our plane to reduce altitude, decrease altitude and decrease speed at the same time. Removing that forward slip. A bit of nose up, trim, and just glide on down. One seven, found it, and nose up. Come on, oh, that was too much. Not bad. Not bad at all. Center first, because I always have trouble keeping that airplane on the center line. Flaps up. And while flaps are going up, I'm using aerodynamic braking, so pulling on that yoke. And there's an exit here, so let's catch that one. Braking, braking, braking. Foxtrot 1. Cool. Welcome to Cochrane. So here we are, to the right, to the right, to the right. There's the threshold line. Cochrane traffic, Skyline Papa Hotel Tango, India Mike is clear, runway 17, Cochrane. And stop. Clean up the airplane first. Park and brakes are set. Let's set to 1,000, keep our engine good in shape. Let's lean for ground operations. Cowl flaps open, transponder set to on. Landing lights off, strobe lights off, and taxi lights on. And park and brakes released. So we're going to taxi on Foxtrot to the ramp. I can see a lot of airplanes there. Awesome. Well, that was interesting. I thought I would already see the airport like I did with Bermuda and with Palm Springs. Far ahead, at least 15 miles or so. It was clear sky, good visibility. Weird. But we problem solved it, which was good. So I used that radial to get me to Cochrane. I used the DME, so I noticed that it was already very nearby. I didn't see any traffic. I started to do a orientation turn, which is also good procedure, I think. So even though it was a unprepared kind of situation or event, I think I resolved it pretty good. But guys, you determine. whether I pass for this short-range cross-country flight. So we can move on to the long-distance flights using flight following, chatting with ADC, finally. Alpha, so let's go to the left, I guess. Seems cozy over left. And then once we shut down, I'm gonna enable my webcam, guys, and have a look at chat. See all your comments and suggestions and probably questions, I don't know. We can debrief the flight. And actually, I'm really looking forward to flying today again. So just have a quick lunch break, I guess. Where are we going to park our airplane? So I'm not going to park it like that because that prevents us from departing. Or at least we need to tow our airplane first, which is not something that I really like. So I'm going to park it here near this hangar. Let's pretend that it is ours. Like so. Aligned. And I think this is just fine. Brake. Whoop. There we are. Parking brakes are set. Let me see. Transponder set to standby. 51 minutes, I guess, for my logbook. Avionics off. And I decided not to do the magneto check anymore because I agree with most other real-world pilots, or most part of real-world pilots, that it feels damaging doing that. Doing with the airplane. So I'm not going to do that anymore. So cut off. Wait until the prop stops. Ignition switch off. We can turn our taxi lights off. Nav lights off. Beacon lights can remain just on because, and also the batteries, because I like to tune down this first. Because by day you don't have any clue whether the lights are actually on. Also the panel lights. Where is it on my Saitek panel? Panel lights. There. Off. And now the generator and batteries off. We are in the complete dark. Then I'm gonna no, I just want to open the, yeah, I can, I guess, here. There goes the door. Very hard to see. Again, a flashlight would be quite useful. And I would like to get my wheel chocks on, pitot tube cover and wheel chocks on, and that is just fine. Pushing forward on the, oh, I can't see anymore. Pushing forward on the yoke, control wheel lock. Set. And that completes our flight all the way from French Valley to Thermal. Let me change my, whoop. There we are. Welcome, guys. Thank you for joining in. What do you think? Did I pass or not for this short-range night flight? I think I did, but let me know. Let me have a look at the chat here. Let's get it here. Whoop. There we are. Hey, Disgraced. Hey, guys. Ruben, are you Dutch? Yes, I am. I'm living in Enschede, in the east part of the Netherlands. Gyro drift. That's a good one. Perhaps that explains why I was that much right of Cochrane, even though, well, the needle was moving away. But I didn't check my compass in that sense. So perhaps my heading indicator was giving me a different heading indicator than my compass, my real heading, magnetic heading. Could be a good explanation, Mike. Hey, Ruben Almelo. Oh, that's just a quick hop here away. Awesome. Let me scroll back. Stefan, probably gyro deviation. Yeah. Still me a bit from the current magnetic course, but it's probably good enough for you forward indirectly. Disgrace, if you check. Let me just scroll through the chat, guys, and see if I find anything that is worth mentioning. Or please re-chat and let me know. Stefan, yeah, the PilotEdge workshops, yeah, they're big videos, but they are so comprehensive, so cool. Especially the first one or two, I don't know, first three, I guess, about VFR flying. Really top-notch explanation on how the airways work. So that's awesome. Yeah, flight following. Yes, still during flight following, you still need to be very careful of looking for traffic. That's still your responsibility, but you just have an extra set of eyes, air traffic controllers, who are following you along your route and just, well, mentioning any traffic that might be a concern to you, in addition to your own observations, which is always a good thing. And I guess that's about it. Flashlights is indeed helpful. Awesome, guys. So let's scroll back again to your recent chats. Just one comment in VFR. Pilot should scan every 31st second for traffic. Have not seen you scan that much. Yeah, Stefan, that's true. Although I was aware of it quite a lot of the time. I really identified a few traffic, and I was aware of it. I wasn't that aware of it in the later part of this flight. So when I reached Cochrane, then I was concerned with, where is Cochrane? Right? And I was using my observation capacity skills for identifying where Cochrane was. And now in retrospect, I think I made that left turn, a teardrop turn. I should have watched for traffic first before I did, because chances are that perhaps some other traffic would already be arriving on Cochrane. Even though I was on CTAF, it's not really obliged to, aircraft are not really obliged to use any radio announcements on an uncontrolled airport, which isn't really smart, but well, chances are there could be anyone flying around the airport. So I should have watched first. So that's a good comment. But during the flight, I was mentally aware of tracking, of looking for traffic. So to me personally, that wasn't really a failure point, but something that I should always keep as a mantra to look for or scan for traffic. So thanks for that topic. But you passed the test. Thank you, Stefan. Any other guys? Do you think that I passed for the test? Let me know. Chat and say pass or fail, and then we're going to move on to the next stage of my training, which is going to be a long distance flight, where I'm going to practice or learn how to request for flight following. One limitation of that fact is we'll need ATC controllers for that on PilotEdge, and currently here in the Netherlands, it's just in the afternoon. PilotEdge will go live, or the air traffic controllers will go live in just a few hours at 5 here. So that means that I'm limited now to flying to evening time here in the Netherlands, which is a big thing. But if I like to fly after my lunch break here, we cannot practice flight following right away. Anyway, just a thing that I just was thinking about. Ruben, when do you upload on your channel? What do you mean? When I stream or when I upload to YouTube? Each stream that I make will be uploaded to YouTube. I did experience some trouble there because in my I did some previous streams that I didn't upload to YouTube yet, because Twitch was doing weird stuff, and when I exported to YouTube, there was a certain audio, video out of sync. So there was a 30-second lag or something like that, even though on Twitch it was just fine. So there were some export issues, and well, really got me frustrated. This stuff should just work. So anyway, I will upload this stream too. I'm hoping that it isn't cut off again. In the previous episodes, I was constantly online and offline, and the stream was just a big mess. Was chunked up into, I guess, 7 or 8 parts, just one single flight of an hour. But now, I guess the stream was completely intact. I don't see any dropped frames. So I think, no buffering chemo. Yeah, so I guess I found the problem, which is a bummer, but still. It had to do with ForeFlight, or with the program that I used on the background here on my computer that streamed my iPad screen, mirrored it towards my computer, and then put it on the overlay for you guys to follow along. So I guess I need to look for another software that I can use just to connect it through wire, so that it streams or mirrors through that cable, the Thunderbolt cable, and not Wi-Fi, because that might have interrupted the stream. So I'm happy that it worked. So that means I can just fly again. And all my streams, Ruben, all my streams will be uploaded to YouTube as part of this narrative, this journey of me getting my private pilot and eventually my instrument rating in flight sim as most realistically as I can, until I can visit Flight SimCon later this June. Hopefully through your kind donations already received a few, which is so cool and so encouraging. So I'm just getting started in this untowered, uncontrolled airspace, and soon we're going to fly and chat with ADC, which is going to make things a lot more challenging, but also a lot more interactive and fun. Do we need a Bluetooth connectivity or something? Well, Bluetooth could also be an option indeed. I don't know. But all the stuff that I've seen so far always make use of a wireless connection, a server that you run on your computer, and through that it streams through your computer. And that to me apparently seems to be too much for my computer to handle or my internet connection to handle. So I need to have some... most preferably just a wired connection. No Bluetooth, no wireless, just wired. I know that can be done on a Mac, but not on Windows. So a bummer. Need to look into that. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for being on board. Next up, another flight test. So just the first practice flight again, long haul flights. But I guess I will get to my flight test very soon, because I think I'm getting used of doing these cross-country flights, and well, just increasing the distance doesn't really add to the challenge, I guess. So very soon we're gonna go to the next stage of training, visiting those Delta airports and then Charlie airports and doing all that stuff. And in the next part, in the next episodes, we're going to practice requesting flight following, which is going to be very cool, I think. So, Stefan, guys, Kimo, thank you for jumping on board. We'll see you next time. I guess I will fly in just a few hours. I'm really enjoying myself here. So, don't know for sure, just some traffic patterns, or we'll see. So, if you're interested in enjoying this channel, I will be live in just a few, I guess an hour or so, or 2 hours, something like that. So, I'm hoping to see you then. Guys, thank you. Blue skies, happy flights.
I'm passing through 500 Chinook 715. 715, 134.125.